Popeyes is getting all of the attention right now, and it's really interesting, man. I'm not okay. I gotta do the trash can story first. Um, wow. I mean, I okay. No, I have to because I can't get it out of my mind right now. Okay, so I have two Popeye stories. Um, okay, so there was a white woman who was body slammed outside of a in a Popeyes parking lot after calling employees the N word. And let me tell you something. There's a video. There's like a 34-second of the video, perfect angle of the body slam of a guy to a woman. And I'm gonna tell you this. He did not hold back. I mean, he body slammed her like she was a guy. I mean, he held nothing back. I encourage you to watch the video so you can seriously understand. I mean, I haven't seen, those fights you see on World Star with the occasional body slams, where and sometimes they're really good. This is that level. I mean, the intensity of the body slam, like this isn't a friendly body slam that you do, that guys do when they're messing around. No, 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 no. This is, dear Lord. Just watch it. It's less than a minute. I promise you, it's worth your time. Okay, this is from Complex.com. A white woman was body slammed in a Popeyes parking lot after she allegedly threw a racial epithet at employees. The incident took place at a Popeyes restaurant in Columbia, Tennessee. According to witnesses, the woman was attempting to dispute a charge on her bill, leading to a heated argument. Several workers asked her to leave the establishment, but before she left, the woman repeatedly called the employees niggers. She then followed, and it doesn't say niggers in the article. It had, you guys know I'm comfortable with saying it. It has it, kind of censored. She was then followed to the parking lot by several employees, including a man who picked her up and threw her down on the pavement. I'm telling you guys. I mean, I watched the video 5 times. 5. And it is quite the video to see. The exchange and the altercation was caught on video. In the footage, a man off camera can be heard saying, "You in the wrong place," saying the N-word. Per the police, the alleged attacker is a 29-year-old man named Darius Hughes. I think that's how you pronounce it. Remember, black names, we like to name our children names that are strange. We give our kids strange names and names that don't really have any meaning. So I think it's Dariance. It's Deriance. I think it's Darius Hughes. Hughes is currently facing aggravated assault charges. The woman's attorney told the local ABC affiliate that his client's words don't justify Hughes' response. He claims that the attack caused the woman to suffer 9 fractures, including a broken knee and 6 broken ribs. Now, I'm not a doctor, but just seeing that and seeing the body slam be from a guy who can simply generate more force than men can generate more force than women. So seeing a fairly young guy pick up a middle-aged woman and with all his might body slam her into hard blacktop, I believe these injuries. 9 fractures, broken knee, and 6 broken ribs. I mean, it was not pretty at all. Like, it made you grab your torso in pain. If she said something that she regrets, it doesn't give a grown man the right to chase her into the parking lot as she is trying to leave the store and body slam a 55-year-old grandmother down on the concrete. So this is a pretty decent lawyer. I mean, he words it pretty much perfectly. A grown man chasing a 55-year-old grandmother. He chose the perfect phrases and the perfect wording. But my goodness, I mean, the story. I gotta say this. You might say I'm underreacting, but to me the story's not that crazy. Okay, did both sides do something wrong? Absolutely. I'm gonna go to the guy first. From a guy to a guy, dude, you did the wrong thing. I mean, you can't just go out there body slamming people. See, here's the thing. It's one thing. See, people sometimes say speech is violence, and that's a very liberal thing, very leftist. But it's not. If someone comes up to my face and yells nigger as loud and as long as they can in my face, it is not the equivalent of me taking my hand, balling it up into a fist, and punching them in the face as hard as I can. It's not the same. Okay, words can hurt you emotionally, but they cannot hurt you physically. What he did was wrong. Absolutely just disgusting and unnecessary. We know that. This woman, okay, she's in the wrong too. Does she have every right to say that word? She does. She's got freedom of speech. Was that a smart idea? No. I mean, it's just stupid. That was just stupid. Because here's another thing. There's not just the body slam video. There is footage inside. There's footage inside the store. And and there's multiple black people, Popeye's workers specifically, in the video. Okay? You have to assess the situation before you make a decision. She didn't choose the right thing, because you have to remember, a lot of blacks aren't like me, where they would say, oh, if you call me a nigger, I really couldn't care less. Some take it super, super personal, and they get extremely offended by it, and some get so offended that it causes them to become violent. And that's what happened here. I mean, this was just not a good situation from the beginning. Oh man, wow. That's really all I gotta say about this, man. Both are in the wrong here, but seriously, look at my God. Just look up the video of the body slam. I encourage you to watch all videos of the incident involved so you can have more context, because you want as much context as possible. But that body slam video, if you don't watch anything else, if you haven't watched any World Star fights this year, which I try to do, occasionally, especially in the summertime where I've got some time off and, I want to see some action. I encourage you to just watch the body slam video. I mean, he really brought the heat. I mean, my goodness. I mean, just the ferocity with which he slammed her. My goodness. Now, let's do the other Popeye story. So these chicken sandwiches, man. These chicken sandwiches. They are almost becoming like a menace, man. I mean, you would think with some of the way some of these people are acting, you would think a zombie apocalypse is hitting. And people are trying to get the last bit of food that they can before everyone goes their separate ways. I mean, this is, wow. I mean, I have nothing, I mean, I believe some of the stuff that's happening. But that's not, nothing happened here. Because before the customer can eat the sandwich has to be made. And in one location in Virginia, I'm going to say this. Let me give a, if you're eating right now, I would say just skip this section. I don't know how long I'm going to talk about it. So go ahead and skip it right now. And here we go. Okay, so a Popeyes employee in Virginia was caught on camera making the infamous chicken sandwiches on top of a trash can. But according to the owner, the problem is now corrected. TMZ gets everything, man. They've got people everywhere. I'm telling you. Let me say something about TMZ. We want to talk about this impeachment stuff. I guarantee you TMZ could find out the truth. If TMZ had anything on the impeachment thing, I would believe it. And I would accept it because they have everything that they come out with, everything that they release is true. I guarantee you TMZ could get down to like impeachment stuff and stuff like that. But anyway, that's not what they do. They do culture stuff, and they really should stick with that because I think, that's important too. TMZ has obtained exclusive yet shocking photos that were taken in the kitchen last week at Fairfax, Virginia, Popeyes, where an employee placed a tray where he was making the sandwiches on top of a garbage can. This disgusting act was caught on camera by a customer online in the restaurant. The owner claims that his store, which had been open a few days, was slammed with a 100 sandwich order. Coupled with the fact that he was short-staffed and had little counter space, the employee did the unthinkable, even though the owner claims that the garbage bin was totally empty. Okay. Now, I'm going to say this, man. I'm going to say this. It's not that the garbage bin was empty. It's the visual aspect, and it's the fact that it's a trash can. It's a trash can. When something touches a trash can, or when something enters a trash can, it's pretty much untouchable now. Unless, and I'm not making fun of homeless people here, but unless you're a homeless person or you're desperate, you don't go picking through trash cans and you don't really touch trash cans. Now, if you lose your glasses or you lose your retainer, or you throw away your wallet in the trash can. I don't know how you would do that. But I mean, it's possible. Then you would do that. Then you would, dig into the trash can and touch the trash can. But the owner missed it. I understand he's trying to protect his company and his employees. Man, that just wasn't a good idea. It just wasn't a good idea. I don't know. Because you have to look at it this way. You have to look at it this way. If you have, okay, say there was limited space and they were short-staffed. I've never worked with food. I never will work with food. But I know what it's like to work in retail, and it's busy and you're short-staffed. It's hard. And you got to make certain decisions of what takes precedence and things like that. You kind of adjust. All right? But if someone wants to put in an order for 100 sandwiches, I'm this would be my approach to the situation. I would say, okay, we're gonna make these sandwiches. There's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of people here to help me. So, whatever happens, happens. And it's like this. Okay, I'm gonna make some sandwiches. I'm going to wrap the sandwiches and I'm gonna put them in a bag. And then I'm just gonna keep repeating that cycle until all the 100 is full. I kind of can't believe I'm saying this, but I can kind of sympathize with the employee because I'm sure he was stressed and he just wasn't thinking clearly. Because he's like, man, okay, who's supposed to come in right now? He probably hadn't had his break and he's like, oh my God, okay, I gotta do this all by myself. I need help. And he got overwhelmed and he was just moving around and he did what he felt, what he had to do at that moment. I mean, I'm not saying it's okay, but I can see why he would do that. I can see what would cause a decision like that. I mean, it was, wow. And in another article, the owner claimed that the trash can was empty and that the employee was a recent hire. But he also, after the pictures surfaced, he ordered a brand new table that reportedly arrived at the location on Monday. And, mate, oh, wow. It's unbelievable, man. It's just unbelievable. Popeyes they are really just getting all the news right now. They are in the news not for good reasons. And I haven't had a Popeyes chicken sandwich. I can't even remember the last time I had Popeyes. It's been a minute. But I'm gonna say something, man. I may just have to try these sandwiches. Cause here's what I believe. Personally, I don't believe these sandwiches are worth it. Because here's the thing. When it's something like, when it's a big trend and it's really popular, the rule generally is it's not that good. Because when the masses just love something and they just go for it kind of blindly and it's just a fad, it's not as good as we think it is. Some exceptions include, 50 Shades of Grey, which was, after reading the book, I understood why it was so popular amongst women, and that's a whole episode in itself. But I'm gonna go on a pretty safe limb here, and I'm just gonna assume it's just an ordinary chicken sandwich. I really don't think it's that good. I've never had it, but I'm just going to assume it's not that good. I'm sure it's okay, but I don't think it's anything to be like, it's not something where I would get into a fight over, or scratch up my car going into the drive-thru just to beat someone in the drive-thru. I don't know. I just wouldn't do that. Not for this. I haven't tried it. I may try it. Probably not. I was talking to my friends about this, but in general, when something is said to just be like, oh, okay, you have to try this, you have to see this movie, you have to watch this show, I don't watch it. I don't partake in it. Usually because it's underwhelming. For example, what's that one garbage movie? What's that movie? Mama Always Said Life is Like a Box of Chocolates. That movie, Tom Hanks. Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump. That movie's garbage. It's bad. And Friends. Pretty shallow entertainment. I mean, just that's really it for that. Yeah. But I may try it one day. You know what I may do? When this wears off, when the popularity wears off, I'll just get it. I'll eat it, and I may tell you guys about it. It could be 5 years down the line. I don't know. But here we go with the next article. Okay, so Instagram likes. This is from CNN.com. And this is pretty interesting. I think this is fairly big. I think, and here's the thing. I think Instagram, in a way, they're kind of doing something that's interesting. They're doing something I think that's beneficial. Because there's a lot of problem with the anxiety in social media, and it causes a lot of depression, especially in girls. It doesn't really affect guys, but in girls it's huge in terms of social media and stuff like that. Okay, so Instagram is about to hide likes for some US users. Here's what to expect. Now, I'm gonna say this. When you have... Here's the problem. Well, you know what? Let me read the article. And then I'll go after that. Instagram is about to take its biggest step yet toward removing likes from its platform. After months of testing an option to hide likes in select international markets, Instagram is about to do the same for a number of users in the United States, a key market and the company's home turf. Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, has already been testing hiding likes in 7 other countries, including Canada, Ireland, and Australia. For years, likes have been central to how celebrities, brands, political users experience Instagram and Facebook. It's a way of measuring popularity and success. But in recent months, Instagram has been rethinking how likes contribute to making its platform more toxic. Now it's contemplating a change. How does the test work? The total number of likes on posts, which appear as hearts on the app, will disappear from Instagram's main feed, profile pages, and permalink pages. The owner of the account can still see their own likes, but their followers won't know the count. Will my likes be hidden? It's unclear how many users in the United States will have likes hidden. Instagram chief Adam Mosseri, I think that's how you pronounce it, said likes will disappear for some US users beginning this week. In other countries where likes were hidden, users saw a message at the top of their Instagram feeds notifying them that they were part of the test. Can I still like post? Yes, users can still like content as they normally would by double tapping on the photo or video or by hitting the heart below a post. When someone you follow has liked someone else's post, it will say name of Instagram account and others under the post where likes would typically appear. Users can then click to see a list of the accounts who have liked the post, although they won't be able to see a number highlighting how many people have liked it. What do users think? CNN Business previously spoke with users in countries with the test. The majority felt positively about this move to improve well-being on the app. Instagram is the most detrimental social networking app for young people's mental health, such as negatively impacting body image, according to one study. But other users and psychologists said hiding likes won't fix everything. The test doesn't address some of the key ways that activity on Instagram can impact the well-being of users, including bullying, feeling left out, and thinking other people's lives are better than their own. Okay. Thought I could do it. No, I can't. Okay. Thinking people's lives are better than their own. Here's what people are failing to understand about social media. On social media, okay, now let me say this. There are some people who have better lives than others. That is true. But here's what you need to understand about social media. When you are posting personal pictures, vacations, boyfriends, girlfriends, stuff like that, cars, things like that, people are posting the best version. This is not a hard thing to understand. People post the best version. People present what they want to present on the internet. People lie on the internet. There are certain things that people disclose over the internet. It's like, okay, you know what? I'll share this. I'll share this. I'll share this. I'm currently working on an essay right now where I'm talking about, the differences of, how men and women approach dating and just kind of things that they look for and just stuff like that. And it's really interesting. So what I found is women, they will tend to lie about their age, weight. They will pretty much subtract like 8 to 10 pounds from their actual weight. Guys lie about their salary, assets, things like that. So girls will tend to lie about, appearance stuff. Guys will tend to lie about socioeconomic stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, thinking, if you think someone's life is better than your own, that's your problem. Like that is an idea from your head. You can't fix that. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Social media is very visual. You look at something, and here's one thing I like about Instagram. Instagram, it's probably one of the least political social networks out there, which I kind of like. I really like it. It's just pictures and, memes, videos and stuff like that. And you can follow whatever you want. And you really, it's just more tailored to you. But with the visual aspect, you will see things and you're like, man, their body looks good. And also when it comes to online dating, I found this in my research that, women are more likely to use filters because they understand how important it is for guys, how important looks are for guys. But what you have to understand is, if you think someone's life is better than your own, that's really your problem. No one has to. It's like this. I don't compare myself to Bill Gates. Do I compare myself to my peers? I do. In some areas I do, in some areas I don't. I tend to look at, okay, what am I doing with my life? Okay, am I single? How many, options do I have? Things like that. There are certain areas where I compare, and there are certain areas where I don't compare. Because it helps you take stock of your life. I do often say to not compare yourself to people, but, kind of take that with a grain of salt. You should compare yourself to other people so you can know where you are. Okay, you gotta know, okay, am I doing relatively well for my peers? Because that helps you with your dating life and stuff like that. Your marriage, it lets you know if you're on the path to success, if you're veering, if you're losing focus, if you're gaining focus. It can help you just take stock. Anyway, but do I like this idea? Here's the thing. I would say this. Generally, numbers are huge. So not seeing someone else's numbers will benefit. But here's the problem. There are certain people where you just know that they get more likes than you. And there are other people where you get more likes than them. So you may not know the exact number, but you will know the range. You'll still be in the same range. It's not like you're just automatically going to think, oh, I'm right there with, the top. That's not what happens. You will know your number. And here's another thing. when you know the number, you will still be like, man, I wish more people liked it. I think and here's the sad part. Here's the sad part. And I'm not a fan of this. But I think the only way to really focus on this stuff and to remove that is to just get rid of likes and comments. So, again, I'm not a proponent of this. I don't like this at all. People should be able to express whether they like or how they feel about something. Because I'm going to say this. If you have the courage to post it, if you have the desire to post it, and you go ahead and do that, you need to be able to receive whatever feedback is coming. That's the trade-off. That is the trade-off. You can express yourself however you'd like to express yourself. Whatever you say when you express yourself, whatever comes back to you, eat it. Deal with it. Okay, so I'm going to say this. If Instagram just made it to where you could post pictures and videos, and nothing else could happen, I don't think Instagram would be as popular. I think it would go way down. I think there are some comments that are hilarious. There are some that are really interesting and they make you think. There are some that seem mean. There are some that are nice. There are some that are encouraging. There are some that are discouraging. It varies. But I say this concerning social media. If you think, just before you post, ask yourself this. Am I ready to receive anything that could come from this post? If you have any doubt, don't post it. If you can't handle criticism, or you can't handle a low number of likes, or you can't handle whatever, you can't handle a bad emoji, don't post it. If you can't receive, don't send it. Just don't do it. Your life will be better. I promise you. I mean, it's just that simple. You want to save yourself some trouble? Just don't post it. Just don't post. But I think this is an interesting idea. I think that this could really change things. Personally, I don't care about number of likes. Obviously, I prefer higher, but really, I don't care. Personally, my main social media platform is Instagram. It's my favorite platform of all. Facebook is my second favorite. Don't care much for Twitter. I used to care for Twitter when I was in high school, but not anymore. But anyway, I would say just look at this, and I think it's an interesting idea. I think it'll solve some problems. Others, it's not really going to touch. But let's see what it does. I think, let's just see where it goes. All right. So, I've never been to Hooters, but would I ever go in there? Not really. I'm not really big on sports bars and just stuff like that. That's just never really been me. I mean, there's a place called Twin Peaks near my school, and one of my friends, he really likes that place, and he suggests it, and we go there, and it's like a Hooters. The women there are, they're attractive, and they wear some, I guess you could say, revealing attire, and it's like, to me, it's whatever. But it's interesting. But anyway, I've never been to Hooters, but according to Fox News, Hooters girls applications are on the rise, which, I think that's interesting. Applications to be Hooters girls are reportedly on the rise at the restaurant's New York City's location. According to women who work there, it's actually an incredibly positive work environment. Now, I'm just going to say this, okay? Here's what I think. I think if you were to work at a place like that, if you work at a place where your body matters, I believe one of the advantages to working at Hooters or, anything like that, I believe tips. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Being physically attractive benefits you in many areas of life. You make more money. You have more options sexually. People trust you more. The list goes on. So there are advantages to being physically attractive. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm a generous tipper. That's always been me. I like giving. That's always been me. Okay, now I will admit, when there is a waitress, specifically waitresses that are really good looking, or I think is like really cute, on top of what I tip, I will tip even more. That's just who I am. Because that's one of the things. See, here's the thing about physical attractiveness. When you're physically, here's what's amazing. Your brain likes to see attractive things. You know why? Because when you see someone deformed or decrepit, or not even just a person, when you see something disgusting, you don't want to look at it or you don't want to be around it. That's just natural. We are wired to want to be around attractive things. We want to be around nice things. We want to look at good things, including people. So when we have these things that are good and we have these things that are bad, we will prefer to look at the things that are good and just give more attention and more resources to the good looking things. And here's the thing, this is even female customers. So it shows that it's not just a sexist thing. This is from Business Insider from 2015. It's not just those 3 margaritas compelling you to tip more. It's the person who's bringing you them. A new study published in the Journal of Economic Psychology found waitresses whose customers deemed them as attractive tended to tip more, a lot more. Over the course of a year, servers whose diners considered more strikingly beautiful could expect to earn roughly $1,261 more in tips than a homelier server. The weirdest part, those tips were coming from women. Beauty might be in the eye of the beholder, but biology certainly clouds the lens. Attractiveness has been a rich field of study for decades and a subject of philosophical inquiry for millennia. We know, for instance, that men tend to prefer high cheekbones to low ones and full lips to thin ones. Women like men to have strong jaws and broad chins. What's more, winners of the genetic lottery go on to enjoy numerous benefits as they move through life. Some of these I just said. Beautiful people are more persuasive, have more sexual and romantic partners, seem more trustworthy, make more money, approximately 12% more money. Living in a predominantly heterosexual world, we might assume pretty women get ahead because men believe their arguments more, pursue them romantically, trust them, and pay them more. At least in restaurants, men might not be so in control. Matt Parrott, an economist at the Food and Drug Administration, carried out the latest study. After he and an assistant collected 501 surveys from diners that asked how big they tipped and how attractive they thought the server was, Perret analyzed the data for patterns. According to him, the result that female servers earn bigger tips from other women might be explained, at least partly by the fact female customers discriminate more strongly than men do in terms of attractiveness. As to why beauty pays, he writes, I considered 3 explanations: stereotypes, increased confidence, and better negotiation/oral skills, and taste-based discrimination. The first 2 explanations fell off the table when Perret conducted his analysis. People don't make a judgment on the server's productivity until after the meal, he explains, so stereotypes wouldn't factor in. Likewise, negotiation skills played a statistically insignificant role in the process. The only factor Perret couldn't rule out was the idea that more beautiful female servers simply compelled female patrons to open their wallets. I'm unable to reject customer taste-based discriminations as an explanation of why beauty pays in this environment. According to some evolutionary psychologists, the modern-day benefits of being beautiful, an extra $3 on an order of chicken wings and beer, actually stem from older humans' desire to seek out people without harmful genetic mutations. Average proportional faces gave humans this impression over highly unique asymmetrical ones. So it goes on from there. Now let me go back to the Hooters thing. Andrea Hill, the managing director of a Midtown Hooters, also spoke with the outlet. While she acknowledged the stigma surrounding the chain, women who work at the restaurant are likely to form lifelong friendships. On top of that, Hill owes her career to working at the restaurant. I went from serving wings to having a seat in the boardroom, she told the New York Post. Sometimes when I meet people, I can see the look on their face when I say I work at Hooters, but then I change their minds real fast. I'm going to say this, man. I'm going to say this. If you're a girl and you work at Hooters, I look at it this way. People are born with certain gifts. Some intelligence, some beauty, some athletics, some music. People have different gifts. You have to use your gifts to your advantage. You go into Hooters or a place like that, the women there are going to be physically attractive. And so it's like, okay, well, how can I use this to my benefit? Well, I'm easily just going to get more tips. I'm going to get more attention. People are going to be nicer to me. I mean, I get it. I don't think any less of a woman who works at Hooters. Because if I look at them and they say that, I'm like, oh, that seems reasonable. I mean, you're physically attractive, you're good looking, you've got a nice shape, you got a nice figure. You're trying to get ahead. It makes sense. It adds up. So I remember I told you about that feminist friend that I have. We were talking about a situation like this, and she said, how do you feel about that? And I said, well, I look at it this way. I said, because what happened was, she has a relative. She has a relative who dated a girl who worked at Hooters. I think it was like one of her male cousins, and he had a girlfriend who worked at Hooters. And she said that she was talking to him and her, and she just didn't really like the idea of her doing that to her body. And I was like, listen, it's a gift. You have to use your gifts to your advantage. I'm not the best looking guy. So I'm not someone who can make money by being on the cover of a magazine. I'm not someone who could, look good in a fashion show. I'm not someone who you would want to put in a commercial. Because for my looks, I'm not that kind of guy. I don't have those gifts. And so I asked her, I said, okay, let me ask you this. What are your gifts? What are you good at? And she told me, and I said, okay. I said, so if you look at what you're doing with your life right now, you are using your gifts to your advantage. I said, right? And she said, yeah. And I said, so what's wrong with good-looking people using their good looks to their advantage? Again, she did not have an answer for me. And she just kind of laughed it off and said, "Oh, well, whatever." And again, we're friends. We're cool with each other. We like to go back and forth sometimes, but often we just have conversations about other stuff. But I think that's pretty cool that applications are on the rise. I personally have no problem against it. And actually, here's another thing. She asked me, she said, okay. She said, would you ever date a girl who worked at Hooters? Which I really thought was an interesting question because it made me think. And I said, okay, I would need to know what else she wants to do with her life. Because I would be like, if you just put that in a vacuum and just say, oh, she works at Hooters, it's like, okay, I need to know other stuff. Like, is she trying to get through school as well? Like what is she trying to do? And it also depended on age and stuff like that. And I'm just like, you know what? I said it depends on the situation, but if the right girl came along and she worked at Hooters, I'd be okay with it. I personally don't think that, I have no problem with it. And so I really think it's interesting. I remember I saw this one article, or this one video of this woman who was overweight, probably just obese. She was probably just on that 30 BMI. She was probably like 30.3 BMI. And she was talking about how that Hooters was discriminating against her. It wasn't Hooters, but it was something like Hooters, where it was like, okay, you had to you had to fit in not the costume. You had to fit in the outfit, and she clearly couldn't fit. And because it's not just one size fits all, but there's a little bit of room. They have some different sizes, but overall, it's just like, okay, this is the room you got to work with. Can you fit it? But it's like this. It's like, I have no problem with it. Because it's like any other place where you can discriminate. Because see, when you're going into the job market, you discriminate based off competence. You don't just give incompetent people a job just to give them a job. No. You want the best people for the company. Okay, who's going to bring in the most revenue? So it's like this. If you were to take that woman in that video and you take, a pretty young blonde with green eyes, some wavy hair, you would take the 21-year-old just for sheer looks. Because looks is a main part of the job. It's like, okay, it's like you tell the other lady, and I personally would have no problem with this. Look, this isn't really the place for you. You can go work at a diner. You can go do that. It's just you are not the kind of person that would work for us here. It may sound harsh and it may sound like I'm discriminating, but yes. I mean, think about it this way. Would you go to... I've never been into a strip club, and I never will. But it's like this. this is to guys and girls because there are male and female strip clubs, okay? So we can all relate to this. Would you go into a strip club? Guys, I'm going to address you first. Guys, would you go into a strip club where all the women are like 5, 6s, and 7s in terms of looks and their body? You wouldn't. Ladies, you're not as visual as guys are, so you're more forgiving. But would you go? I mean, you wouldn't go to see me. You just wouldn't do that. So I find this interesting. I really do. Hooters has been going down though, like their number of locations. Because I've seen a few Hooters close up. The restaurant, which hasn't changed its iconic uniform since the 80s, has struggled in the modern world due to this, third wave feminism. Just nice. Despite efforts to attract millennials, the number of Hooters locations has dropped in the U.S. by more than 7% from 2012 to 2016. So, Hooters is, and I gotta be honest, I think places like this could disappear. I certainly hope not, because it's a place where, if you're good looking, it's a place where you can get some income and get some good tips just because of your looks. If you want a pianist, you don't want an average pianist. You want someone who knows many songs, who knows different melodies and stuff like that. You don't just want a person who can just, play hot cross buns on those ivory keys. You wouldn't want that. You would want someone who's good at what they do. So for places like Hooters, it's like, okay, this is a girl who's attractive, and it's like, this is a place where I want to go. I want to watch sports. I want to be served food by good-looking women. I don't think that is that bad. Use the gifts that were given to you. Obviously, as long as you're doing things legally and stuff like that, use the gifts, use the assets that God gave you. No pun intended there. But, use your gifts to your advantage. That's one of the reasons you have them. That's what makes people so great. You have some that are really great with looks. You have some that are just incredibly intelligent. You have some that can, Freddie Mercury, Celine Dion, who can just create incredible sound from inside their bodies and just, entertain us and just blow our minds with their ability to sing. People like Michael Jackson, who can just dance and just make great music. I mean, we all have different gifts. Find yours and run with it.